glorious Glorify community. I'm Omar Farouk, co-founder and CEO of Glorify, the e-commerce focused design tool that you all love, of course. And welcome once again to our podcast, The Path to Glory. On The Path to Glory, as you guys may know already, we bring to you successful entrepreneurs, experts, and deep dive into their story. And more importantly, get insights into the entrepreneurship journey in addition to, of course, the amazing tips and advice that they can give you. Now, on today's podcast, we're going to cover an in-depth study of what it takes to build a high converting funnel, to supercharge your business and make more sales. I mean, if you don't have a functional, high converting, but also beautifully designed funnel, whether that's part of your website or an independent funnel page, then you might as well call it a day because you're not going to get the conversions that you deserve. Now, I'm really, really super excited to welcome the master of funnel building, my good friend, Neel Sarode. Neel is the lead designer at Bank Account Builders, an agency that markets and designs for $1 million plus companies, which I think is awesome. And that's exactly where he learned to design funnels that break the ugly ClickFunnels standard funnels that you see online. And he's also discovered the exact methods and techniques to build their funnels to that next level. Neel's also the founder of Design Leads and TemplateBuilder.io, both of them being SaaS platforms. He's also the founder of Conversion Designer, a masterclass where aspiring entrepreneurs can learn in-depth techniques of how to design amazing funnels. I am part of the Conversion Designer community. I've deep dived into his courses, and I have to say part of the success in my own businesses is because of Neel and his amazing tips and techniques and his training courses and masterclasses that have given us the know-how to craft beautiful funnels. And of course, his courses have been so successful that they can also be accessed on learn.com. So LURN.com, that is. Neel has also been an ardent supporter of Glorify since day one, which we're super grateful for. And I've always been super grateful for him, for all of his support. I mean, Neel have also collaborated on a live webinar where he shared with us the 5 tips to creating landing pages that actually convert. And I think there's like tons of value in that training session alone. The live replay is on our YouTube channel. So after this podcast, I recommend that you go check that out. I have added the links to this webinar in the description below as well. So be sure to check it out. And now without further ado, let's warmly welcome Neel. What's up, Neel? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, Omar. Thank you for having me, bro. I'm excited to be on here.
Awesome. I mean, now, before we get down to picking your brain, we always do this in the Path to Glory. We want to know a little bit about yourself. What's behind Neel Sarode, the entrepreneur? So tell us a little bit about before you became entrepreneur. I know there's a journey that happened. I've seen it online, I've discovered, but I want to hear it from yourself.
Yeah, so I guess I can start from square one here. So, I'm Indian. So growing up, my parents really wanted one thing, right? They wanted me to be a doctor. It was either you're going to be a doctor or you're going to be stuck at McDonald's your whole life. So, I went through all of school with that goal in mind. Okay, I'm gonna study hard. I'm gonna go to college. Then I'm gonna be a doctor. Now, throughout high school, I lost my focus a little bit. So I started caring less about school. I started caring a little bit too much about things that didn't matter. Ended up at a more average college. And as I was there, when I had gone to that average college, is when I really started to realize that this is the time I have to start, busting my ass to make this possible. Because I was surrounded by people who really weren't putting as much effort in their school as I was. They would party the whole time. They wouldn't really do their due diligence on furthering their career and furthering their life. And at a certain point, I was studying. I was pursuing a biochemistry degree. And I really thought to myself, like, is this what I want to be doing, And I remember that day that I thought that I looked up online how to make money online. Now, the first thing I found was dropshipping. And so I started off dropshipping in college. I was, I went from doing my homework and studying for exams like 2-3 hours a day to 8-9 hours a day learning this stuff online. I'd be glued to the computer every day. I'd never felt such a drive before in my life to pursue something that I myself had found, right? It was always what my parents had wanted me to do. I never really gave my full effort in it. When I finally found something that I wanted to do, I put full effort into it, finally ended up leaving college to pursue this. And really, yeah, but I mean, obviously there's more to that story, but before entrepreneurship, that's how my life was. I kind of lived by my parents' expectations. And finally, when I was in college, I was able to see that there were other things in this world that I could pursue that I myself would want to pursue and put my own effort into.
That's really interesting that you say that, Neil, because I mean, I totally, totally relate to your journey. Me growing up with Sri Lankan parents is not much different, to be honest. There's lots of expectations. The whole thing, like you gotta be a doctor, engineer, one of those, that list basically, doctor, engineer. I think there's a couple other career paths in that list, but I can't remember all of them. Scientist, architect, all of this stuff, right?
Yep.
But I was again like I think the pressure kind of makes you want to isolate yourself from all those ideals. Like you just want to move away from all of the pressure, right? And so I went to pursue motion design, which is a complete failure in their eyes in terms of
that's a creative field. They don't like creative fields.
Exactly. But I guess I still managed to convince them, and they did support me towards the end anyway. That's awesome that that you come from that sort of humble beginning. Can you just tell me, because you said drop shipping, like as far as shipping is concerned, I only found out about it very recently, like I think the last 3-4 years. When did you start looking into drop shipping? What year was that?
So yeah, that was the year of 2017. It was November of 2017. It was when I found out about it, and that was when it was almost like a gold mine back then. Like you could just launch any product and it would get sales. And so during that time, I probably had maybe 7 or 8 winning products across that year or two that I was doing drop shipping. But I had no experience in business or finances or anything like that. So I could figure out, driving traffic to the page. I could figure out converting them and getting them into sales, but I was not watching my finances. I was not, tracking proper KPIs, et cetera, et cetera. Push came to shoves. Like a year later, I found myself $12,000 in debt. And that's when I had to drop shipping. I didn't have any money left. And, at that time, I remember I had to go back to working at Domino's Pizza, delivering pizza. Because for anyone watching, that is the easiest way to make money at a minimum wage job. Let me tell you that right now. So I had gone back to Domino's, and I had to switch to client work at that point. That's the only really work you can do with no overhead costs, right? It's just doing work for other people. So that whole next probably 6-7 months, I was just struggling to get my first client, finding anyone who could pay me any amount of money to do anything. And my first client I got, and I remember this was the biggest mistake I ever made. I charged him $500 for a full website build, Google ads, Facebook ads, email marketing, and SEO, which I knew only how to do a website redesign at the time. So I had overcommitted everything that I had at my fingertips.
That's like a lot of value, man.
Dude, I'd
hire you tomorrow.
Yeah, it was a local business. So I remember I had to go meet them in person, and I was so nervous. My palms are sweating. And I just promised them everything in the world. It was the biggest mistake I could have made. Yeah. Anyways, 3 months later, I could not fulfill on one thing I had said because I committed to too much. I ended up having to refund that $500.
Right.
So yeah, that was probably that was 2 series of fails that really made me realize that like this online business stuff, although from the outside it looks easy, it looks like everyone's just jumping on their MacBook and making $1,000 a day. You still have to work hard. You still have to treat it like a business, and you still have to be committed towards what you're doing. If you don't commit towards what you're doing, it will never work out. And I can promise anyone that.
Yeah, totally, man. That's again, it's funny you said that about that client. I think there's this whole chronicles of a aspiring entrepreneur, right? Like it's I think a lot of people go through that, especially if they're trying to do the agency model or the client model, freelance model. You always begin charging like super low tickets, right? It's same with me. Like, I was me as a motion designer. I started getting into the agency models, charging for logo, product imagery, because I tapped into the Amazon market and I was helping Amazon entrepreneurs create their product listings. So I was giving this whole package deal, promising them the sun and the moon, and not being able to live on time. And it's only when you start to realize business, like you said, and being able to, you know, raise your prices and show more value and do the consulting part a bit better, then you can actually, you know, charge what you're worth. Dude, I want to go a bit further into your path, that, you know, what led you down specifically into funnel building. How did you make that transition? Firstly, I just want to point out, this is really interesting, like your story, because 2017 is not a long time ago, right? Which shows to me that you're on some crazy hockey stick trajectory, man. It's like, woo, you know, you're up that climb, which is awesome. And so that alone needs to inspire our entire audience. The fact that, you know, you're such an early entrepreneur in the making, like, and you're already on this trajectory is just awesome, man. And like the stuff that you've done, you know, we'll get into that later in the talk, in this conversation. But yeah, tell us a little bit about how you moved from dropshipping to funnel design.
So, okay, let me give you guys the spiel here. So, like I said, drop shipping, I ended up not watching my finances. I failed miserably there. I had to go to client work while working at Domino's. And like I said, every day at Domino's, I'd probably work like a 7 to 8 hour shift. I'd get home and then like 7-8 hours, I'd be on the computer, and I would only sleep like, honestly, like 5-6 hours a day. So I was doing this for so long. And as I said, I was trying to struggle to find this $500 client, finally got it. Ended up having to refund it. And there was this guy I'd been following for quite a while online. His name is Joseph Lozikin. And I'd met him originally at an e-commerce convention 2.5 years ago. And, you know, he was saying some really crazy stuff back then, like marketing stuff that I'd never even heard of before, like how he had brought a company XYZ these results and company ABC these results. And at that moment, I followed him on Facebook. And since for the next year or so, I was following him, watching all his Facebook lives, seeing all his posts. And one day, I wanted to design a spec mock-up for a local business. So I designed this really quick landing page on Canva. It was just on Canva. And I sent him I had messaged him on Facebook, and I recorded it with my screen. Like, you know, you can take Instagram stories just holding down the record button. Same type of thing. I did it. It was only 2 seconds, and I messaged him and I asked him for advice on this and how I can make it look better. And as soon as he saw that, he messaged me back. He was like, "Yo, dude, this looks awesome. Like, I don't know why you're wasting your time trying to do Facebook ads and email marketing when this is your true talent. Like, you can make this, like, within 10 minutes you made this, and it looks better than anything I've ever built." He gets me on a call, and he ends up convincing me to fully commit to website building and funnel building, because that's what he was doing for a couple of his clients at that point. He was like, "Yeah, I'll bring you clients, you know, you can be my lead designer at my agency, blah, 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 and I will move you out to Arizona." So within a month, this man buys a house in Arizona. He moves me out to Arizona, and I spent the next year there. And really everything, a lot of what I've learned and a lot of this like successes that I've had have came because he moved me out there. For example, before I'd ever moved to Arizona, the only online entrepreneurs I had ever met were at that convention where I met him. And that was, you know, once out of like 2 years, one day out of 2 years that I met another online entrepreneur. When I moved to Arizona, literally every person I was surrounded by then was an online entrepreneur. They're all my age. They're all making $50,000 a month, $60,000 a month. Some of them were making $100,000 a month. And just being in that environment, surrounded by people that are just like me, doing things that I had been dreaming of doing, really helped me push into overdrive. And it made me truly commit to this whole, you know, what I was doing every single day. I was waking up 3 a.m. I would work like 8-9 hours until 1 p.m. Then I would go to the gym. I would come back, and then I would work. And those first half of the day, I'd be working on client work. Second half of the day, I would be working on my own stuff, like my courses, my software, you know, furthering my learning so that I can, you know, bring my students great content, that sort of stuff. And really, it was just a year. It was like, I mean, I don't know if the people listening to this watch Naruto, but in that show, this man left. He like left his village for, I don't know how many years it was, 3 years, and he was just grueling training and just, you know, focusing on his craft that whole time. And he came back stronger than ever. Same thing is how I view that, is that I took a year away from home. Yeah. Was sent to Arizona where I knew no one. And really for a full year, I put everything I had into what I was doing. And it was the greatest way I could have spent that year. There's no better way I could have spent that year.
That's incredible.
And because of that is where I am now.
Yeah, that's absolutely awesome. It kind of also, when you said Naruto, I also thought about, if you watch Dragon Ball Z, like back in the day, there was this episode where I think some of the characters go into this kind of
Hyperbolic time chamber.
the time chamber thing. So they like do intense training for like, I don't know, like 10 years condensed into like one minute or
Yep,
something.
that's exactly how it felt, dude. That's precisely how it felt, and it was worth every second of it. It was worth every second of it.
That's insane. That's crazy. We've got a guy in our team from Arizona. He runs ads and he's very entrepreneurial as well. And we can tell, the spirit. People from that area that have that entrepreneurial spirit. A lot of people.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to be. I never knew about it, but there's so many in Arizona. It's insane.
That's really cool, man. Yeah, I mean, this is really interesting. There's so many things I want to pick in that journey alone. But again, it's just amazing how fast paced your journey went, and it's like, I think the best way to describe it is, like we said, a time machine. So can you describe who that entrepreneur is again that flew you out? Can you tell us?
So his name, his name is Joseph Lazakin. I guess what he does is what I had known him for in the beginning was he was a master of CRO, conversion rate optimization. So at the time, how his thing works is that he would work with companies doing a minimum of $10 million a year. And he created this proprietary tracking script, and I don't know exactly how it works because he was very, that's like his bread and butter. So that's no one touches that. But I know that what the purpose of it was to recover lost revenue. So people who had come, click the add to cart button and ended up leaving. He had some special scripts he set up, some special emails, some special retargeting. And these companies doing $10 million a year, he would say, I'm going to bring you back X percentage of sales. Let's say 30% of sales through my proprietary retargeting script and his retargeting emails and retargeting ads. And he would take, I don't know what the exact percentage was, but he would take a percentage of the revenue that he would recover them. So if a company's doing $10 million a year, and let's say he recovers them $3 million, and let's say it's even, 10% of that recovered revenue, he would make $300,000 from just that client every single year, whatever that he's running it for. So these type of systems he would just be able to set up, and he would just be paid for life after that. So he was like a very sought after consultant in that sense.
That's insane. Like, it just, the fact, I love when you get a service like that where you can actually, the service itself has a clause in that way, you guarantee results, so you have to, obviously he has to do his part to actually make his bit, and you're not working off a salary. And I think that's amazing, man. And so it just says a lot about him and what he can do. But that's great. I mean, this story is a classic sort of, example of, associating with those that are better than you or higher than you to, take you on that trajectory, right?
Exactly, precisely.
Yeah, it's the same thing that's happened to me. It's like you always need a mentor. You need someone to guide you, in the initial paces. And I think once you really catch that, the entrepreneurial bug, and you get onto a specific trajectory, then it's like, you kind of learn everything you need to learn from that mentor, and then you go in your own path, right? And I see that's what you're currently doing, which is amazing, and it's exceptional. Now, we need to do something here. We got to go into funnels for startups for about 20 minutes. So here's where I really want to start to pick your brain, as much as I can for this, for the rest of this session. So I want to firstly focus on startup entrepreneurs. So anyone listening into this podcast who's new to business will be in the loop when you're, talking about more advanced funnel building hacks. So can you explain why a funnel is so important for any business at any stage of the business?
So why funnels are important for any business at any stage? Honestly, it's really a way to ensure that the traffic that you're sending, whether it's organic or paid, is going to be used to its absolute best possible. A funnel allows you to make sure that anyone who gets sent to your page is going to be sent along a tailored path for them to initially be a cold prospect, to eventually convert into a customer, and then a lifelong customer. compared to if they were to send traffic to a website, there's so many different things that someone can do on a website. There's no guarantee that they're going to travel through the path that you want them to. Instead of like, a path like this, it's like they can go any which way like this, when we want it to be like this, not like this, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. So you sort of kind of narrowing down the focus so that they can basically get them to target one specific action, so that the conversions work in your favor. Is that a way to explain it? Would you say?
Yes, exactly. So just like you said, a website will have, it'll have 10 different links. You can, as soon as you come to the homepage, there will be 10 different links on a website that you can click. And that means there's 10 different places for the user, the visitor, to exit out of your website or exit out of what you're trying to sell them on. A funnel, if someone was to land on a landing page, like the initial landing page of a funnel, there's only one thing on that entire page that they can click. Even if there's buttons and links everywhere, they're all going to lead to the same exact thing, which is the second step of the funnel. And like you said, that allows you to really control the path that this user is going to take and control the information that they're going to digest in what order, to make sure that that's like, it's almost like a way to digitalize your sales process, right? If like a salesman has a certain process that they use to convert a cold prospect into a customer, it's the same thing for a sales funnel. It's going to be a series of web pages and, web interactions that is gearing them towards eventually becoming your customer by taking them down that journey.
Totally. Just to, again, make it clear to our audience, like you mentioned the differences between a website and a funnel. A lot of people tend to associate websites with funnels, despite the differences you described, right?
Yep.
So it's a bit of a deep question, but, does a website, can a website also have funnels or be a funnel, would you say?
Yes, but so I guess there's two different ways to think. When it comes to online, there's two different ways to think of a funnel. It can be a standalone funnel, meaning a series of web pages geared towards taking them towards something. And then it can also be almost like a KPI funnel. For example, if someone was to come to your blog, and let's say there's a link at the bottom of your blog to take them to book a sales call, that could also be a funnel. It's just not a tailored funnel, because although the user is going to go to that blog article and there's a chance they're going to click that link, there's also the chance that they're going to click to the next article, or they're going to click on the About Us page at the top. So, and in that note as well, it's also important to realize that most businesses will need a website and a funnel, because a website it's almost like a home base for your business, right? That's where people can go to see everything about your business, what you're about, why they should trust you, et cetera, et cetera. While a funnel serves a specific job, which is to convert that person into a customer in the long term. They both have their separate purposes.
That makes that definitely clarifies, the differences even on a deeper level. Because with our ecosystem, after going through your training, Neel, like we implement what we call disposable campaigns. So we have the Glorify website, which is our main website, like you said, where customers come there to sign up, to learn more about the product, the blogs, the content, all that stuff. And then when we do a sale or a campaign, we have that one tailored funnel, like you described, with one call to action on a very specific deal. And it works. It just works, because if you have your deals on your main website, people will miss it. They might just go through the regular path, or they'll click another link, or they might even just bounce off. Versus having a tailored funnel geared to one specific deal that's super accurately communicated and one specific action. So that really helped a lot. So that's how our ecosystem works. We've got a website, and we do disposable campaigns with one single funnel. Can you also explain, how do you, what kind of actions you need to take towards building a high converting funnel?
What actions could you take? So my number one thing I'm going to say is, if you're a startup entrepreneur and this is something brand new, funnel wise, you want to keep it as simple as humanly possible. The more you complicate it, the longer it's going to take to get results, and the longer you're going to get discouraged that's not working. So my opinion, if someone was starting at, if I was to just have restarted all my stuff, and let's say I just started selling my course and I had nothing up yet, all I would do is have the first page of the funnel be a video, like a 10-15 minute video of me talking about the product and me selling them on the product, whatever it is, me giving free value. And then the next button would be to either purchase or book a call. You want to make it as simple as possible in the beginning. And then after that, worry about adding stuff on, like adding on a lead magnet, adding on a, just optimizing the funnel further. But initially, like I said, you want to keep it as simple as possible. Maybe just have a video on a page with some text under and a button. Just make sure not to complicate it if you're a startup entrepreneur. And then later on, once you secured some results for that product, because a lot of time for a startup, you don't know for sure that something's going to sell, right? For example, if you just relaunched Glorify today, you don't know, and you didn't have any of your past data, you don't know 100% that it's going to sell for sure. So you want to first test to see if it's going to work by having something very simple. And then if you secure results through that, prove your results, then start to add on to the funnel and optimize it and lower your cost per purchase, et cetera, et cetera. So in my opinion, have a very simple page with a video sent to either a application page or a order form.
Seems straightforward enough. So would you say that anyone can build a funnel? Do you have to be a designer?
No, you don't have to be a designer at all. Anyone can build a funnel 100%.
Right. So that's one little kind of, you can say, a misconception that's demystified, because I think a lot of people think, hey, you need a highly technical person. So, what kind of softwares could people use to, without having all the tech background? Because I know you teach this stuff. So what could you recommend for
for the layman, for someone who really doesn't know much about online stuff, I would recommend ClickFunnels, just because it is a platform. It is specifically built for business owners who don't know how to do online stuff. Like, it's specifically built for that. And it makes it as easy as possible. It has everything in one platform, order forms, upsells, the page builder, easily connecting the pages, very simple, intuitive builder. And then if someone already has experience with WordPress, I would just do it on WordPress then. Because, like I said, a funnel is really just a series of web pages, whether that's a page with an order form or a page without an order form. Most of these things can be built on WordPress. Obviously, to get an order form on there, you'd have to have WooCommerce, which is the e-commerce counterpart of WordPress. But really, those two platforms alone, you could get it done very quickly. I know there's new platforms coming up like Groove Funnels, and there's Kartra. And those two are very similar to ClickFunnels as well, where it's just very easy to get up and started, and you can have something built that same day, literally within an hour.
Awesome. And from my understanding, you teach all this. Well, we already know this, but you teach all this stuff in your courses, right, Neel?
Yeah. So I specifically teach ClickFunnels and WordPress. I have a separate course for each of them. And yeah, my course's focus is to really teach people how to leverage ClickFunnels to build something that will be timeless, right? That you can run your business's traffic to forever. Because a lot of like I said, although it's very simple to build a funnel on ClickFunnels, you want to also make sure that these things are branded and they're giving your business the right, reputation, the right persona online. So my course really helps people build branded funnels, really helps them make sure that what they're building will convert and what they're building is not spammy. It won't ruin their business's image.
Yeah, I think everyone listening here, I can guarantee that both these courses are going to create amazing results if you want to get into funnel building. And I want to kind of quickly announce, there's a little teaser, but by the end, well, it's not really a teaser, but by the end of this podcast, you can actually jump into this stuff, because Neel will be giving you guys a discount code for both the courses. So it'll be a limited time discount code. So you got to stay till the end of this episode. Listen in, guys, listen closely. And once you get the code, jump in on this stuff while it's around. So now that we have the idea of the importance of having a funnel for your business, and you have the idea what it takes to build your first funnel, let's dive a bit deeper. So a couple of things, quick fire stuff here, Neel. Should you hire a copywriter or should you write your own content? That's number one.
If you're not a good writer, definitely hire a copywriter. 100%. It will make a huge difference on the performance of the page.
Great. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that copyright is accessible today, right? Just go on Upwork, go on these different sites, and there's plenty of options out there, ranging from a variety of pricing. So you can find
variety of prices. Yep.
Exactly. So you can find the one that works best for you. Second quick fire question: how important is branding and good design in the funnel?
My personal opinion is that it is one of the most important things because of the feeling it leaves on your customer, right? When a page looks like it could have been built by a 5-year-old, it doesn't necessarily convey a feeling of trust, right? It doesn't make you feel like this business even has the resources to provide me what I'm buying right now. But when you have something that's branded, something that looks very professionally done, it gives the customer a peace of mind knowing that this business cares enough about their product and their customers to put a lot of effort into this page. And that is, it's almost like a a subconscious psychological thing that it lets them know that, okay, this company is they walk the talk, or they walk the walk. Excuse me.
Yeah.
They walk the walk. They talk the talk and they walk the walk. So
exactly.
yeah, whatever that phrase is, but I
Yeah.
definitely think that it's very important. And even you and I have spoken about this before, Omar. The better a page comes off, the less hand holding and the less of a crappy kind of customer you get. When you have a really spammy sales page that doesn't look professionally done, a lot of the times you'll get refund requests. You'll get customers that they require so much hand holding through the process that it's almost not worth the business's effort to go through that. So, it really leaves a good impression on your customer. It just kind of fosters goodwill between you two and really helps the relationship moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big believer in that. And just to add to that, like without a doubt, like I think I've noticed that the moment I've upped my design, you just attract a better quality customer, and they become repeat buyers. They're more valuable to you as a customer.
Yep, and they become advocates for your brand as well.
Exactly. And that's powerful, because if they could become an advocate to your brand, then that's paying you bigger dividends in the future, right? So,
Yep.
Unseen dividends. You don't even know how the lifetime value of that customer is going to impact your business.
Exactly.
It will be positive though. So moving forwards in the quick fire. So we got, in your experience, what are the biggest mistakes people make when building a funnel?
Number one, overcomplicating it. Like I said, you should always start off simple. And I'm guilty of this as well in the beginning. And I still do this on my own course in my software. I overcomplicate the crap out of it for some reason. I have, since I'm a funnel design guy, I like to go 10x on everything I do for my own brands as well. But really, I think that I would be a lot farther by now than I already am if I had just simplified it, dumbed it down, and just not tried to do too much at once, right? When you try to do too much at once, it really interferes with your business itself. Because if you start to focus too much on making this funnel perfect and pixel perfect and adding this step and this step and this step, you start to lose focus on your business itself, like the core product and service that you're selling. So number one is simplify it in the beginning. Don't try to overcommit and do stuff that you're not going to be able to do, and that's going to deter you in the long run. Second biggest mistake I would say is design-wise trying to do too much on the page. For example, having crazy colors everywhere, having different font sizes all over the page, different fonts all over the page. A lot of the times, the simpler you can make the page, the better it will perform, just because it's easier for the user to read that page, right? When it's crazy and there's big fonts and little fonts and green and red and blue and yellow everywhere, it really adds visual tension to the way the customer or the visitor is perceiving your page. And that increases the chance of a drop-off. And obviously a drop-off is not good for your business. You want people to stay on your page as long as possible and to go to the next step as high as possible, the conversion rate to be as high as possible. So I'd say those are, in my opinion, those are the two things that you really should focus on. Making sure the page is simple and not overcomplicating the entire structure and process.
Yeah. And so another part is obviously, like you said, visual clutter, right? So I think it all comes down to simplifying. Without a doubt, makes total sense. I've noticed as well, like one of the things that you personally teach, I mean, we'll go into some of the best tips, some of your 5 tips at the end of this part. We're coming close to the end of the session, but I also want to pick on a little a theme that I've been seeing. I think you teach this is, do you recommend having multiple call to action throughout the funnel, and how would you structure that out, would you say?
Yeah, so you definitely want to have multiple call to actions across the funnel, meaning you want to have multiple buttons on the page that are all leading to the same page, right? They're all leading to the next page. It's just the more buttons that are on the page, the more chance the customer is going to see it and click it. Now, obviously, you don't want to overload the page and have a button every single 2 lines, but in key spots where, for example, the header, right? Every header in a landing page or a website is always going to have a call to action button. And the sections that are more geared towards, what their future outcome is going to be if they buy this product, those spots you should have call to actions as well, because of the nature of that message that's being said in that section, right? For example, like a section with social proof that has past client results or past customer results, that spot should have a call to action. A section for the main benefit of the thing, like let's say like, for example, for me, after you take this course, you're going to be a world-class funnel designer and make 5 figures a month, whatever it is. You should have a call to action there. You want to be, you don't, like I said, you don't want to overload the page, but you want to make sure you're putting it in spots where your messaging is geared towards them taking action.
Totally. And I guess a part of that is also crafting the message of the call to action. This is one thing that I've seen, that you could craft the message on the button to be in line with that section. So if you, like you said, if you're talking about a testimonial, Adam said XXX, become part of the community, get the same results Adam got, or something like that. Right.
Exactly. And on that note, like you said, it's great to tailor the button's text to what that section is talking about. Just like you said, if it's a social proof section saying join the community, or do you want, or get results like Adam now, et cetera, et cetera. And at that same point, you always want to make sure that your buttons text, no matter where they are on the page, is tailored to something like that. You don't ever want your button to say buy now or submit. Like if it's a email opt-in form, to say submit. You always want to have that text action oriented. Like instead of saying, let's say it's a page for a free ebook, instead of saying submit, you would say get my free ebook now. If it was enrolling into my course, for example, instead of saying buy now, you would say enroll in masterclass now, or start journey now, or just a call to action message that's tailored towards what they're going to be doing, not just a generic word, because that will always increase your conversions.
Makes total sense. It kind of humanizes the process, right? And it also reminds them exactly what they're doing here, right? And it totally makes sense why conversions would increase, because it's again reducing the friction in the mind of the customer that's looking at it. Neel, it's been awesome. Like, you've given us some amazing insights in terms of funnel building. But I know this is just a pixel of what you got in terms of the stuff that you teach on your community and your courses. On that note specifically, I'd like to kind of selfishly pick some more tips from your mind that I know that you already talk extensively in your courses, but give us some of the best 5 tips that you've got to optimize a funnel and make sure that it does convert. Your top 5.
So top 5. Okay. Number 1 is raw social proof overload. So as we spoke about just now, right? It's important to have social proof on the page, meaning past customer results, past client results, et cetera, et cetera. Now, the rawer that you're able to make those things appear, the better it's going to perform. And let me explain that really quick. So as
you know, what was the word you used? Raw, like as
raw,
in,
raw, like
RAW.
RAW, raw.
Okay, cool. Yeah, go ahead.
So, for example, most websites you'll come and you'll get to the testimonial section. It will just be 3 lines of text, a little 5 stars and a name next to it. Sometimes there isn't even an image. Now, when I come to that page, and I'm sure when most people come to that page, there's a little part in the back of your mind that says maybe they could have made this testimonial up, right? They could have easily just typed in this review. They could have easily just typed in this name and added a 5-star symbol, and they're good to go. So to really sell that this social proof is real, you want it to be, as I said, as raw as possible. For example, a great way to put social proof on the page is screenshotting social media, things that people have said about you on social media. For example, Facebook comments, Facebook posts, Instagram stories, Instagram posts, and screenshotting those and making sure that on the page, the user can see that this is straight from a social media platform. Like, you did not doctor this whatsoever. This is exactly how it came from that platform. And that really lets them, and although that's going to make your design look bad, or not bad, but look worse, right? It's obviously looks better to have just the text and stars and a name, but having those screenshots really shows the visitor to that page that these are unadulterated, undoctored, reviews of this company. These are really what people are saying. And on top of that, video testimonials are always better than text testimonials, just because there's a person physically talking about it on there. And now on that note as well, again, on video testimonials, the rawer you're able to make it, the better. Meaning that a testimonial recorded from someone's iPhone like this will most of the time perform better than someone in a professional setting and with a high quality camera setup. They have a nice background, et cetera, et cetera. Because again, that looks like they wrote a script and that it's doctored, right? So really the rawer it comes off, I'm mix up my words, rawer it comes off and the more, natural and the more undoctored it appears, the better it's going to perform. So that would be my first tip is anytime you see anyone say anything about your business online, screenshot it, put it in a Dropbox folder so that you have that available when you need to post on your website or your funnel, right? For example, I have a folder on my computer named testimonial screenshots. It has literally 70, 80 screenshots in it that I've just over the past 2 years collected online. So that is number one, raw social proof overload. Number two is, and I've spoke about this a little bit earlier, is making your text on the page as readable as possible. Because again, the easier you're able to make, or the more you're able to make the page easier to digest, the better of the chance that the user is going to stay on the page and then go to the next page. And that for text that comes to a few things. That's number one, making sure that the contrast of the color of your text against the background is as readable as possible. For example, when you read a book, it's always white text on black text on a white page, right? That's the max contrast that you can have for text, which is why 90% of the pages online that perform very well are black text on a white background. And that just comes down to, humans are used to reading, we all grew up reading books before this internet thing came out. And 99.99% of books are black text on white paper. That's what humans are accustomed to reading. And that's the way that we should do it on our landing pages. So always make sure that your text is dark, your background is light. And in some specific cases, you can have white text on a dark background. But for, if there's a lot of text on the page, you want to make sure that you're using conventionality, making black text on white background, and always making sure that your text is differentiated as well. For example, let me open this book again. I can give you guys quite a few examples. So right here on this page, we have a headline and we have the body text, right? As you can see, the headline is bold, big, and thicker than the body text. That allows us as readers to easily see that I should be looking at the headline before I look at the body text. Same thing on your landing pages and your websites. You want to make sure that the first thing they see is the headline by making sure that it's bigger, bolder, more contrasted than the body text. That way, kind of giving a hierarchy on what order they're supposed to read the text in. So always make your text as readable as possible. You can even just do simple Google searches on how to make text readable on a landing page. You'll find so many resources you can find to just easily do it. So there's a second tip. Number three would be making sure that the images and the graphics on your page contribute to the message that you're trying to get across to the customer instead of taking away from it. For example, sometimes I see people create they're quote unquote nice looking landing pages, but they abuse illustrations. Like they'll download like an illustration pack off of, creativemarket.com or Envato Elements.
Oh yeah. And yeah.
Yeah. As soon as they start to use, they'll use this generic pack of, illustrations that 99% of other websites are using too. And as soon as you come to that page, there's nothing that stands out anymore. It becomes one out of those 100 pages that all have these same illustrations. And these graphics and illustrations 90% of the time aren't even contributing to the message they're trying to give across on their page.
Yeah, definitely. I totally relate to that. I come across these funnels all the time, and it's just a one funnel in a sea of funnels that look the same because they're all using clearly the same illustration pack like you described. And plus, these illustration packs are generally quite generic. I mean, they could potentially support the message of the business because usually they're so generic. Like there'll be illustration pointing at some, some dude pointing at a board or a presentation with a graph going to like profits. And I think every business can have that because, generally, businesses are talking about profits, or any kind of course that you're talking about, whether it's dropshipping, Facebook ads could always have a graph with a profit line, right?
Yep.
So you see that a lot, and it's just, it's unfortunate because it doesn't really help differentiate, number one, and make you stand out, and mainly differentiate. But of course, it just doesn't contribute enough to the message, like you said.
Exactly. So you want to make sure that the images and graphics that you use on the page, not necessarily using them sparingly, but make sure that when they're there, they're contributing to the message and they're not distracting away from the text that's next to it. For example, if I was to come to a site that had a generic illustration on the right side and their headline, text, and button on the left side, that page I can almost guarantee would perform better if they remove that illustration and centered the text in the center, so that the message that they're trying to get across is the first and immediate focus that I see when I get to that page, instead of first looking at this illustration, wondering what the hell am I look like? What is this business? I don't know what this business is. And then reading the text. So, in certain spots, you got to make sure you realize that it might be more important to add the focus to the text on the page rather than a graphic that you're just throwing in just for, graphics sake. So definitely make sure that when you guys add graphics and images to the page, that it's adding to the message and not taking away from it. Now, number four, I would say is that the visitor on your page needs to know exactly what you are selling within the first 2 to 3 seconds of arriving on your page. And that, that means that your headline in the header needs to be as clear as possible, because most of the time, the first thing a person comes to see, when a person comes to a page that they see is the big, bold headline. So you need to make sure that the text in that headline is not vague and it's directly tailored towards what outcome they're going to have if they get this product. You don't have to necessarily say, like, let's say you're selling an accounting software. The headline doesn't need to say the world's best accounting software. It can say, fast track your finances or manage your finances, whatever it is, as long as that message is showing them that what they're going to get after they get this product. And then the sub headline or the body text under that headline would do the rest of the explaining what exactly that product is.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I want to just kind of add to what you said there, which is, again, I relate to this because on our, we use Hotjar to track, customer experiences on our website. And without a doubt, like, you look at the top header of your page and it's just red hot. Like, it's obvious, it's a given. Like, anyone coming on the landing page, the first thing they see is the header of the page. But in most cases, more often than not, you'll find that very rarely do people actually even scroll. Like, they just look at the top part and they forget about the rest. So a lot of your selling, a lot of your messaging, a lot of your communicating needs to happen right there. That's your biggest opportunity, versus the probably 20% that will start scrolling down to discover more.
Yep. Exactly how you said it, dude. When I check, I use the Lucky Orange, but same exact thing. The header is just fully red. And then under that, it just starts orange, yellow, green, blue, and it just goes down and down and down. So you're 100% right on that. Make sure that the what's above the fold, meaning, and for people who don't know, above the fold means when someone comes to a website, what they see on the screen before they scroll needs to do a lot of the selling and needs to convince them that the rest of this page is worth their time scrolling through. Because that's the spot where they make the decision. Either I'm going to scroll through, either I'm going to click the button, or I'm going to get the hell out of here.
Exactly.
So that is,
is that number 4?
Yeah, that was number 4.
All right, so we got one more, man. We really pounded on you today, man. Like,
yeah, it's okay. I like it. I really enjoy talking about it, to be honest. So
awesome.
Number 5 is kind of just a general practice. Obviously, we're talking about how to make sure funnels convert. Number 5 is making sure to split test, because there's a 0.01% chance that the first instance of a landing page or a funnel that you launch will be the best possible way that it can perform. There's almost no way, right? You just don't know when you're building a page if it's going to perform well or not. Sure, it can perform, it can get its job done. You can get the sales you can get sales through the funnel at a proper cost. But over time, you want to make sure that you're split testing, which I'll explain for people who don't know what that is, to optimize it over time so that your conversion rate goes higher and higher and higher and higher. That's how really most of the most successful funnels in the world are built like that. They're first built their initial prototype, whatever, and through repeated split testing, they finally get their way to the highest converting possible way they're able to do it. So split testing is essentially, it's having 2 versions of the same page that traffic is being sent to. So you start off with one version of the page that, traffic is being sent to. And let's say that your headline says, like on that accounting example I gave, fast track your finances, right? Now, let's say I'm getting a solid ROI on this page, but I want it to be better first thing I would probably split test is that headline itself. So what you would do is you create a variation of the page. And on platforms like ClickFunnels, it's very simple to do this. There's a button that you click that just says create variation. It'll create a full duplicate of that page. And then you can make whatever changes on that second page you want to see which will perform better. If traffic goes to this and traffic goes to the second page, which one is going to perform better? And you can make a smart decision based off that on how to move forward. So one thing to keep in mind though is that when you're split testing, make sure that you're only changing one element at a time. If you're going to do a split test, only change the headline. Don't change the button colors too, because once you do two things and you know that this one's going to perform better than this, you don't know which out of those two is making it perform better. So it's literally like, like a science experiment. You're choosing one variable, switching that up and seeing if that's going to perform better. Once this is done and you've confirmed that this headline is going to work better, then you can go to split test the button color. So in a second split test. Now again, whichever one performs better, let's say this one drops off, then you split test, adding, social proof logos under the header, et cetera, et cetera. So it's really having a clear methodical route of like what you're going to test one after another to finally get higher and higher, finally raise your conversion rate.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like a science experiment, to be honest. It's like
it is, dude.
Testing theories and hypotheses. So like,
that's what I was going to say is you need to make sure that before you split test as well, you make a hypothesis. I think that if I change the headline to be more benefit oriented instead of feature oriented, it will perform better. Then you test that hypothesis. If it fails, move on to the next one. So totally. Exactly how you said, it is like science, dude.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. And it's like, I get a buzz out of it, to be honest. Like just testing this stuff and optimizing it. Like it's tedious, but once you get into a flow state of doing those kind of actions and deliverables, it becomes like second nature. So honestly speaking, like take this stuff and action, put it into action, actually do these things and you'll start to see results. And once you start to see the results, it'll become like second nature to you. You'll just start doing split tests on every single funnel that you create. Neel, you mentioned ClickFunnels, which again, for split testing, I totally agree. The split testing feature on there is just so easy. It's like literally one click, you duplicate it, and you don't have that feature anywhere else. Not that I've seen. You don't have it on WordPress, and you don't have it on other platforms that I know of. Which I wanted to add to that is that there's a big stigma on ClickFunnels right now. Like, and I think it's because a lot of crappy products and services are associated. Dodgy services and products are associated with ClickFunnels because you find these entrepreneurs using the platform and using very black hat tactics to market, right? But it's not just about that. There's plenty of very sincere and hardworking entrepreneurs that are using the platform to create amazing. And I think that's really what Russell Brunson, the founder, intended with his product. So I wanted to add something here is that not a lot of people know that Glorify used to once upon a time use ClickFunnels. In fact, I used Neel's training course to for our team to make sure that we create the most badass funnel ever. And literally after Neel's training course, like we split tested it, like you said, like our previous funnel that we designed versus the techniques that are implemented after looking at Neel's course, and plus using his software, which is called template.io, which literally spits a funnel out, a ClickFunnels funnel out for you in a few steps. So you can basically create all these segments. You feed the software the structure that you want for your funnel, and it spits out a template, all consistent, all built out for you with all of the formatting that you need, beautifully created, and you just customize the different sections with your own images and content. We use that system, split tested against our older funnel, and like the results were overwhelming. Like literally overnight when we launched, we started noticing like, massive conversions, and that's what secured our first round of early adopters, hitting within the first 6 months, hitting close to 5K users and 1 year plus with a 20 team over 20 team runway, right? So which is awesome, like for a software startup. So I have to give some of the credit to Neel, of course, for helping us with that process and creating this amazing community around funnel building. Neel, before we close off, I know we've been at it for just under an hour now, so we're coming close to the end. But I want to talk about, because we spoke about your funnels journey and you've given us all about your funnel expertise. What led you from funnel building with client work to then, you then of course decided to share that with the community, but then you went even further and started creating software solutions. Tell us a little bit about that journey.
So this is kind of, okay. So when I first started, obviously Joseph had seen something in my design skills, right? Which is why he made me commit to it. And he realized this guy's already good at this. I don't know why he's trying to commit to everything else. So once I started to commit to the funnel building thing, I was learning everywhere I could online. I was in the ClickFunnels group almost every single day, all day, looking at the posts. And one day, and I'm sure you've seen these, Omar, in the ClickFunnels group, people post their designs. Like it's like a square image with like a preview of their design, and it'll be like designed by Neel Sarode, made in ClickFunnels, for example, right? So I first made a post like that probably 2 years ago, and I was the first one to ever post something like that in the ClickFunnels group. And I remember the first post I had made, I had like 80 likes, like 30 comments. Second post I made, again, 100 likes, like 50 comments. And all these people in the comments are asking, how did I make it look so good? How did I make this look so branded? This doesn't even look like it's built on ClickFunnels, et cetera, et cetera. People kept adding me over and over and over again. My message inbox was filled with people asking me all these questions. And at that moment, I realized, obviously I know something here that other people don't, and they want to learn how to, want to learn how to do. So that's when I really decided I'm going to sit down, put together a course on this, just to help these people.
Demand.
Yeah, exactly. Without even launching a product, there was just demand. Exactly. I validated the demand before I even launched the product. I launched a pre-order deal, and I had like maybe 20 people buy it for $300 or something back then. This was around a year or 2 years ago. And, that moved on, that went forward, and the course started doing really well, raised the price. And at that time, I remember in like the first 2 months, already some of my students were making like $5,000-$7,000 a month. And before that, they had never made any money online. So like I said, I was doing my courses. I was, really, and this was during the time that I said I'd moved to Arizona for a year. So I was just in the mode of just all day, every day learning, all day, every day. I was invested into, what my craft was and learning, and just, it was always on my brain. How can I be better at this? And I'll be honest with you, I never had the intention of launching a software. I never, ever had the intention of launching a software. And one day I was driving back from the gym, and I was just deep in thought about just funnels and all this kind of stuff. And it sounds so stupid, but I genuinely think that because I was so committed to my purpose and what I wanted to do at the time, the software idea literally it just came into my head. Like I knew nothing about building softwares. I knew nothing about how softwares work. And it just came into my head. And in my head, I was able to piece together how I would be able to create Template Builder, for example, and using the resources I knew and the no code tools online I knew how to use. Somehow in my head, it just clicked together. And I literally spent the next, I think it was 2 weeks after that, fully building out that software. And literally within 2 weeks, it was fully working, blah, blah, blah. It was all good to go. That software did really well.
Are you sure you were not on like high-powered math or something like that to connect all the time? I'm just joking.
Dude, I really wish. Like I said, it sounds stupid, dude, but it was almost like, I don't want to say the word spiritual, but I genuinely think because I was so committed at that time, these things were just coming into my head. Like,
I relate to that. I think entrepreneurs get that always, like, it's like an opportunity sent out from the divine realm. Like you get this message, and it's like, wait a minute, this is my path, and it's like an epiphany, right? So totally relate to that. I'm pretty sure a lot of entrepreneurs relate to that too. But yeah, continue with your journey, man. This is getting really interesting.
So and I recently launched a new kind of mini software called Design Post. It was the same kind of thing. Like I just noticed that, okay, so like I said, I had originally made that image or I'd posted that image in the ClickFunnels group a couple years ago. And that's what really started my career, right? That's where people started adding me constantly. They were, it sent a bunch of traffic to my page, a bunch of people messaging me in my inbox. And over time, a few of my students started launching their own funnel design courses, and they were teaching their students that their students should make posts just like how I had first created that post to get clients in the group, because that's how they had also gotten clients in the group. So I realized like it's honestly, sometimes it's a pain to have to go to the page, screenshot your landing page you designed, lay it out on this image, and then post in the funnel group. So, in my head, somehow it just came one day, how to build a software that would allow people to immediately generate an image like that without having to design it themselves. They just paste in the URL of the page that they're trying to show off. My software automatically screenshots the page, puts it in a really nice layout on the image. It has a call to action on the image as well. If you want to work with me, message Neel@bankaccountbuilders.com, whatever it is. And yeah, literally just knowing what people are struggling with and knowing if you're able to build a solution to that is really the first step to software, right? I'm sure that's how your software is too. Like, that some people have a problem. Yeah. Continue. I want to hear your.
No, I think what you did is awesome, man. Because again, like both your softwares and including the other one as part of that stack. I don't know if you'd call it a software, but designleads.io is another platform that you came up with, which I believe my understanding is that you've connected it to a database where you can actually extract people that have signed up URLs, and you can kind of cold outreach these people, right?
Yes.
And so that's awesome as well. You're kind of centralizing that system, which is great. And I think, all of your ideas, the fact that you materialize them is just, and all of this, I think like in the space of a year and a half.
Around a year and a half overall. Yeah.
Yeah. That's insane, man. Like, I think that's more than, like I think even some of the top CEOs with financial resource can actually accomplish in that space of time. Like you've done an incredible job. Like I said, the hockey stick trajectory. And man, so like honestly, like we wish you like the best luck in that trajectory to continue on that path. But again, just to touch on those ideas, like you did, like you said, problem solution, right? And it's all cookie cutter built for the startup entrepreneur, right? And that's the same thing with Glorify. It's to save time, and get like real results. Results that actually impact your business, right? And impact what you're doing. Neel, it's been such an exciting conversation throughout this podcast. And we've learned a lot, not just on funnel building, but you've also inspired us with your entrepreneurship journey, like that whole journey, like from, it wasn't necessarily a rags to riches story, but it's given us like for me personally, what it's given me is that anyone can literally pursue this path, and it doesn't necessarily have to take up 10 years of training and grinding and grafting. It's just, if you've got the spirit and you've got the eagerness to pursue it, like I think you could get on the trajectory in the space of a couple of years, which is great. And that's what you've done.
Exactly.
So yeah, man, thanks a lot for being here. You've got, we're at the end of the session. So you did mention that, we've got an exciting giveaway for our audience today. So the first giveaway, by the way, guys, we would have explained this on the post on this podcast when it gets released, is that first one to download this podcast gets one of Neel's courses for free.
Both. Let's do both.
Damn, that's even better.
Let's do both.
So that's new. So we're going to have to, make that adjustment, but both courses for free, both the ClickFunnels and the WordPress course for free. One lucky individual, the first person to download this podcast, gets both courses for free. Now, for the rest of you guys, we're not leaving you out on the lurch here. Neel's got a discount code for all of you guys to jump in. It's a limited discount code, so you best jump on this while it's available. Neel, do you want to drop it on everyone?
Yes. So for you guys watching, obviously, like I said, Omar says that I've helped him with his journey for quite a while, but he's also helped me in my journey for quite a while. When I first started out, he was one of my first entrepreneur friends online. I'll be honest with you guys. He was one of my first entrepreneur friends online. And we chatted a lot back and forth. He gave me a lot of useful pieces of advice. Obviously, he has a lot more experience in this game than I do. He introduced me to Chris Do, which is a guy I looked up to for a long, long time. So especially for you guys being here from Glorify, I definitely want to help you guys out. So I put together a $300 discount code for you guys if you want to get into the masterclass. And I'm also going to, for anyone who buys it through Glorify, buys from Glorify's audience, if you email me after you use this discount code, I will also give you access to the WordPress course for free as well. I just don't have it set up on the site right now, but if you make sure to email me at Neel@conversiondesigner.co, that's Neel@conversiondesigner.co. Let me know that you purchased, after watching Omar's podcast. I will definitely give you guys the WordPress course for free as well, because again, like I told you guys, it's important to have not only a funnel, but also have a website. Website is your home base for your business. Funnel is what converts people into customers, right? So the discount code is Path to Glory, and I'm 99% sure it's Path to Glory. Path to Glory, $300 off. And for the URL, Omar, is that going to be in the description, or should I tell them it on the
good question. I think we'll just drop that in the description to make it easier for everyone. So guys, it'll be on the description on this podcast, on the podcast page in Glorify. So just go to Glorify, www.glorifyapp.com/learn/podcast. You'll find it there, or go to /learn and click the podcast link. You'll find it. Just scroll down to Neel's, the podcast with Neel, and check it out in the description. Neel, that's super, super, super generous of you, man. Like, I think, when you did your launches, I saw how the ClickFunnels community, and then thereafter the ClickFunnels community, after you launched the WordPress community, WordPress course, the people from the ClickFunnels course also just it was like it was just like wild animals just jumping onto it just to secure the spot while you're running your deal. And the fact that you're giving us a really generous discount means a lot to myself and on behalf of the entire Glorify community. So thanks a lot, man. Really appreciate that.
Nice. I'm very glad, dude. I'm very glad.
Awesome. All right, guys, there you have it. It's been a really awesome session with Neel Sarode. Follow him up. Go join the Conversion Designer community group. There's a ClickFunnels one. There's a WordPress one. Go check it out. And I think even if you don't jump into the courses, it's worth being on those communities. Why? Because you're just going to learn so much about funnel building. And honestly speaking, if you're an entrepreneur and you don't understand the mechanics of funnel building, then like I said in the beginning of this podcast, you might as well call it a day. Not only just the mechanics of funnel building, but also trying to make a funnel look the part, look branded and look beautiful. There's too many funnels out there that just don't look the part, and you don't want to be caught. You don't want to be part of that group, or you want to be one person in that ocean of ugly looking funnels. You want to be the top 10% of beautiful looking funnels and high converting funnels, and that's what you will achieve by being part of this community through this this amazing community that Neel's created, where everyone's just learning and empowering each other to continue upping their game with funnel building. Like literally, if you go in the community, you'll see people posting their funnel designs, getting feedback, just like we do in the Glorify community. So I think it's just a really awesome opportunity. Again, massive thank you to you, Neel. We'll catch up with you in another podcast, hopefully in the future, or another webinar. Guys, just one more thing to add to this podcast. Check out the webinar as well. Neel gives you some further tips and tricks on funnel building that you can find out on the Glorify YouTube page. That's it for this episode with Neel Sarode on the Path to Glory. Guys, take care of yourselves. Stay glorious.